Okay, so just keep in mind the information provided in this presentation is intended solely for the general information of the audience. It is not medical advice and shall not replace consultation with your physician or other qualified health provider. If you have any health-related questions or problems, please seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider. All right, so what I am covering today in this session, we're going to explore the best ways to stay active across different life stages. So that's from childhood through older adulthood. And we're going to cover exercise recommendations that are tailored to each age group, highlight the unique benefits of physical activity, and I'll be discussing some special considerations, for example, pregnancy, postpartum, chronic conditions, disabilities, and other challenges. And then I'm going to outline some actionable steps that you can take to make physical activity a regular part of your lifestyle. Now, whether you want to improve your own fitness or suppose you're supporting others, this webinar will provide valuable insights for everybody and to help make physical activity a part of everyday life. Now, I have an identical twin sister, and often, we're in sync, but sometimes we are totally not. We're exactly the opposites. So back when I was in college, okay, this was years ago, I was studying, of course, to be a health educator, and I was really focused in on disease prevention and health promotion, super passionate about having people, stay healthy and of course out of the hospital. So she would joke with me and she would say, eat right, exercise, you're going to die anyway. And of course, I found that really insulting. And my response was always, well, living a healthy life is a gift, one that brings long lasting enjoyment. Of course, we've grown up, now, and if she doesn't think that way anymore, but you've probably heard the saying that if you have your health, you have everything, and that health is a gift that keeps on giving. So, regular exercise, of course, has numerous health benefits for people of all ages and abilities. It helps for us to control our weight. It improves our heart health by boosting that good cholesterol. That's the HDL, that's the good cholesterol. It also lowers the triglycerides. That is a type of fat that is found in the blood. Of course, it also reduces the risk of health conditions. So think of stroke or high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. It's beneficial for depression, anxiety, cancer, arthritis, and of course, it helps us to prevent falls. But it also enhances our mood, helps us to sleep better, gives us energy, helps with our cognitive or brain function, and it helps with overall longevity. Now, even small amounts of physical activity throughout the day can be beneficial. It's really consistency is the key. So exercise can be really fun and enjoyable and a great way to connect socially. Oh, here's my first poll. How much moderate intensity aerobic activity is recommended? Let me see if I can go ahead and launch this so that you can see it on my screen. All right. Go ahead and see. Let me see what you guys think. How often should adults include muscle strengthening activities in their routine? Okay, I'm sorry. That is the wrong one. I wanted a different one. Hang on, hang on. Let me see if I can launch that one again. Let me close off of this one. Sorry, I apologize. Whoops, let me go back. This is the one I want. All right. Okay, so this one matches. So, how much moderate intensity aerobic activity is recommended for most adults each week? So our choices are 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week, 150 minutes per week, 60 minutes a day, 7 days a week, or none of the above. Give you guys a few more seconds on this. Of course, these are always optional. You do not need to participate if you don't want to. What do you think the answer is? Moderate intensity aerobic activity for adults. Righty. Let me share the results here. All right. So actually, if you had said B, 150 minutes per week, that is correct. So 45% got that one. The other folks are close, but it really is 30 minutes a day, most days of the week. And if you cannot get that in, you can 30 minutes at once, you can actually break that up into 3 10-minute blocks. Oh, right. As a kid, now I remember playing outside. I'd play with my friends. I would ride my bike. There was one time actually, I wrote on my dad's new green car with a rock because my sister and I, we were playing school. And I, of course, was the teacher. And so the green car was our chalkboard. Well, my dad wasn't super happy about that. But as you can see on this graphic, there are many benefits to our kids when they get regular exercise. This is going to improve their attention span, their memory, helps with their mental health, while of course boosting their muscle strength, endurance, and of course aerobic fitness. Physical activity helps for the kids too to control blood pressure, their blood sugar, and their weight, and it actually lowers their risk as they age of chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes and obesity. We also know that exercise strengthens the bones and it supports your overall cardiovascular health. For adults, of course, physical activity is good for all ages. And so this graphic is showing you the immediate effects of physical activity on the left side, that's in purple, and then the long-term effects on the right side in green. So exercise provides immediate benefits like better sleep. Some folks say they can't really exercise right before sleep because that does disrupt their sleep. That was sort of a myth. So you can exercise right before sleep as long as it doesn't impact your sleep. But overall, exercise helps us with our sleep, reduced anxiety, and of course, helps to lower blood pressure. Those long-term effects on the brain health, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, same thing, helps maintain muscle and bone strength. As we age, that is really crucial for balance, for preventing falls, and also managing chronic conditions. What about those folks that are 65 and over? Yes, very similar recommendations for seniors or anyone with senior family members or friends. Staying physically active is key to maintaining independence, especially when it comes to balance and coordination. Of course, we want exercise to help reduce the risk of falls, and it overall supports their mobility. Now, I have a sister who is 70. I live in Colorado, so she moved out to Colorado to be close to me. I thought, oh, this is super great. I'm going to have my sister near me. We can have coffee together. My kids can have sleepovers at her house. But in actuality, that is not what happened. As soon as she moved out, she ended up in the hospital with two compacted vertebrae. And so she had to have months of physical therapy. She actually couldn't do anything without excruciating pain, but she did recover. And then she was working out in her kitchen. She normally works out with her trainer in the basement on carpet, but This day, she was working out in her kitchen and she fell onto the hardwood floor and she cracked a vertebra in her back. At that point, she was diagnosed with osteoporosis. So, again, back to physical therapy. She ended up using a walker and then a cane. It has actually taken her over 2 years for her to get her full independence back. My point is that it's never too late to start exercising. With advancements in medicine, we are living longer and we're seeking a higher quality of our life that's really focused in on independence and our health. Now, exercise doesn't need to be intense. Simple activities like walking or even gardening can be beneficial for both the body and the mind. If you have a health condition or you're new to exercise, you probably should consult your healthcare provider just to make sure that your program suits your particular needs. Let's take a look at some of the types and how much physical activity we need by life stage. So for the kiddos, the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, recommends that young children be active throughout the day. That helps to support their growth and their development. Things like jumping or riding tricycles, dancing. Both children and adolescents should get 60 minutes, so 1 hour of moderate to vigorous physical activity every day. This includes aerobic activity. So think of things like walking or running. Then think of muscle strengthening. That's like climbing or push-ups. And then bone strengthening, anything that's going to be weight bearing. So things like jumping or running. Those should be done at least 3 days a week. And for the kiddos, the children and adolescents, much of this activity does happen through school, and through play. So here's an example, Justin, age 4, so he's at daycare. So he plays outside. When he's at home, he plays with his sister. And then on the weekends, he's got some activity as well. Here's my next poll. How often should adults include muscle strengthening activities? So let me see if I can launch that second one again. I am going to relaunch the poll. Okay, no problem. Here we go. All right. So muscle strengthening activities for adults. How often should we be doing that? Is that once a week, daily, 2 or more days a week, or only when we're feeling weak? What do you guys think? Give you a couple more seconds on that. Of course, these are voluntary. You don't need to do these if you don't want to. All right, let me go ahead and end the poll and share the results. You are correct if you said 2 or more days a week. 73% of you said that. Fabulous. So that is correct. All righty. Now, the types of exercises that we're talking about, body weight or using your body as weight type of exercise. So think of squats or lunges, or even where you like do a wall sit. You sit against the wall with your knees at 90 degrees. You could also use things like if you have access to free weights or a resistant band, you could do things like bicep curls. You could also do shoulder presses. Or if you have access or have a machine or have access to like gym-based machines, you could do things like a leg press, a chest press, or you could even do something like Pilates, or even yoga, as long as they've got those strength focused poses in there. Lots of different options. Right, on to my next one here. Okay, so this is some examples. You got 3 different examples of here how to achieve the recommended physical activity guidelines. So again, we're aiming for 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity activity. So that's example 1. Or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity activity, which is example number 2, or a combination of both in example 3. In addition, we want to add those muscle strengthening activities at least 2 days a week. And just keep in mind, exercise can be flexible. You can spread it out throughout the week. It even can be broken into smaller sessions. Examples of moderate activity, think of brisk walking or biking or even mowing the lawn. Vigorous activities, think of things like jogging or swimming laps or singles tennis. When you think of muscle strengthening, we're talking about using weights or resistant bands. I could mention just body weight exercises, gardening, or even yoga. And then, of course, you want to vary your options. This is going to make it easier for you to stay active based on your own personal schedule and, of course, your preferences. So we have Carmen here. So in the office, she's using the stairs, she's walking on her lunch. And then that HIIT is high intensity interval training. So she's using that either on her phone or a laptop. And then, of course, on the weekends, she is busy as well, getting some activity in there. All right, my last poll, strength training for older adults. Let me launch this one. All righty. True or false on this one? Older adults should avoid strength training to prevent injuries. Couple more seconds on that one. All right. Yes, you got it. That is absolutely false. Strength training is really important. That helps everyone, including our older adults, to maintain that muscle mass. And it can be done safely at any age. This, oh, right. So here's some guidelines. 65 and older. Notice, very, very similar to the activity we've been hearing about. So most days of the week, 30 minutes, most days of the week, along with that strength training. But notice that balanced, focused exercises become really important. So activities such as practicing to walk backwards or standing on one leg, this is going to help prevent falls and reduce the risk of injuries like fractures, like my sister. You want to strengthen the core muscles and those leg muscles. This is really key in being able to improve balance and stability. And if you are a senior or a senior, have a senior in your family or friends, a lot of times senior centers or recreation centers will have specific classes that are tailored to our seniors. Well, what if you don't want to go to the gym or try anything like traditional workouts? There are so many other ways to stay active. I talked about walking or gardening, dancing, swimming. You really need to choose activities that suit your interest. What are you interested in? Also, your body and your lifestyle. What fits into your lifestyle? You just want to build a consistent routine, scheduling, exercise into your day. Get your calendar out and schedule it. That way you can prepare in advance if you've got a late meeting or you've got something else you're involved in. Prepare in advance. And really just to start small if this is not something you've done for a while. Maybe look for something that works for you. Do you like to exercise indoors or outdoors? Do you want to do like one-on-one with someone, or do you want to do a group session like at a local recreation center? Or if you want to just exercise in your home with maybe on-demand programming. Also think about, your joint health. If you've got a knee injury or a shoulder injury, when you're picking out the activities that are good for you. Sometimes we need accountability. So whether that's through a workout partner or a class or simply having to pay for a program, as soon as we pay, we tend to show up a bit more. And most importantly, you got to find something that's enjoyable. That's the only way that you'll be able to sustain it. Even just walking outside is a great way to get started. You guys, the leaves are going to be turning pretty soon. If the weather's good, it's really great for your brain if you walk on varied terrain. So your brain has to look and think where you're going. However, nobody wants to exercise, in a busy street or in an isolated area. So sometimes even your local school will have a walking track. That's a great place to go too. Okay, I picked this picture because sometimes when it comes to physical activity, I don't feel like it. So I sometimes feel like the wave is crashing on me, and all I want to do is curl up on the couch. But fitness experts do emphasize that setting small, realistic goals like, hey, I'm going to walk for 10 minutes today. Don't set yourself up for, hey, I'm going to walk for a full hour, and then you don't get it in. You end up doing nothing. So set yourself up with small, realistic goals. On the days where you've got low energy, you want to choose more of the light, low impact activities. And also pay attention to how your body feels after exercise. If you feel like fatigue or discomfort, that could be a signal of some other issues, maybe like poor sleep or nutrition. And don't forget to celebrate. Celebrate movement, no matter how small. You want to use tools like maybe a tracker or something that will help you to stay motivated and consistent. It's totally normal to miss a workout sometimes. That even happens for elite athletes. Be flexible. Allow yourself to adjust your plans without guilt. On the low energy days, do some type of restorative activities, like maybe just some stretching or even meditation that still supports your well being. Now, I mentioned exercise can benefit everybody, but let's look at some special situations or considerations that we should keep in mind. Now, in this area, you'll want to work closely with your healthcare provider. Physical activity is generally safe during pregnancy for healthy individuals. It has the same guidelines. So 30 minutes most days of the week, along with the muscle strengthening exercises twice a week. During pregnancy, this really benefits to managing weight, reducing the risk of gestational diabetes. That is the diabetes that comes on during pregnancy. And of course, it's good for our heart as well. Now, while contact sports and lying on your back after the first trimester should be avoided, other options include things like walking or swimming, yoga. They even have prenatal fitness classes. Those are really great alternatives. And then after postpartum exercise, that helps to reduce depression, gives you some energy, helps to elevate your mood and manage stress. And it's normal for activity to feel a bit different after birth. So start gently, things like walking, and of course, consult your physician. If you have chronic conditions, so the exercise recommendations for people with chronic or even disabilities are the same for others. If you are recovering from cancer, regular exercise improves fitness and it lowers the risk of cancer reoccurrence. Those with osteoarthritis, that's going to be me, can reduce pain and improve function with low impact activities. So you think of things like swimming or walking and tailoring activities to your ability and your condition severity. Those with chronic pain, you can benefit from physical activity too to help manage that pain and prevent loss of function. But you really need to listen to your body and avoid overexertion on a good day. If you're having a good day, you don't want to overexert yourself. If you happen to have type 2 diabetes, exercise, of course, is going to help with the glucose control and heart health. But it does require careful blood sugar monitoring and also keeping an eye on your feet as well. Really good foot care is important for people with type 2 diabetes. If you happen to have osteoporosis, you want to work with your healthcare provider for safe exercises that are going to promote bone health. So that's going to be weight-bearing exercises, muscle strengthening exercises, and of course, balance activities to prevent falls or fractures. So overall, staying active is really crucial, and just working with your healthcare professional to help find suitable exercises to meet your specific needs. So the example here is Nancy is 83. She's got osteoarthritis. So she does a 20-minute low impact workout and then chair yoga and mall walking. I actually live in an area that has 4 seasons. So I do mall walking myself with one of my friends when the weather is not good outside. It's snowing. All right. So in frail older adults, regular physical activity significantly improves walking, balance, strength, and the ability to do daily activities of daily living and improves quality of life. It also, of course, helps to reduce fall risks and injuries. And it aids in recovery if you've had like a hip fracture or a hip replacement. You'll want to work on some with a physical therapist or your physician to do an exercise program. Sometimes our older adults do have functional limitations, so it helps to do physical activity that is safe and helps improve ability to perform everyday tasks. Excuse me. People with conditions like Parkinson's or multiple sclerosis, spinal cord injuries, or even stroke. Now, those folks benefit from what they call multi-component exercise programs. So many components. So aerobic, strength, balance training, anything that's going to help enhance physical function. So really tailored activity plans developed with a healthcare professional can help match the exercise to individual abilities. So we got a couple of examples on the slide here. Mike, 53, has multiple sclerosis, so he's able to use the stationary bike. He found a class that is specifically designed for people with MS, and he's able to do some brisk walking. And Judy, 79, she's in a care facility, so she's able to do the walking around, and she's actually joined a group that does the bird watching. Knowing your limitations. This is actually, these pictures are of me. When I was, of course, much younger, I was able to do some figure skating, and now I do tap dancing. So as we move through different stages of our life, our bodies naturally change, and so do our physical abilities. So for example, a knee that used to once glide easily over the ice does not tolerate figure skating in the same way once osteoarthritis sets in. And that is what I have. But it doesn't mean activity has to stop. We just have to adapt to gentler, more joint-friendly movements, such as walking, swimming, yoga, even chair exercises. And so that you can still enjoy the benefits of staying active while respecting your body's limits. And like I said, in this case, I'm no longer able to figure skate, but I do tap dancing, which I enjoy just as much. We also have to watch out for pain and fear of injury. So chronic pain and past injuries, what does that do? It makes us hesitant around exercising. And it also sometimes makes us feel like, I want to avoid movement altogether. However, that does make pain and stiffness worse. So what do? We start out small with low intensity activities that helps build our confidence. And we use strength, strengthening those support muscles to protect those vulnerable joints. Like, for example, I have knee issues, so exercising the muscles on top of the leg, the quads and the hamstrings, as well as the lower leg, help to protect my knees. Also, pacing your activity. You want to prevent any flare ups. And sometimes we need to use adaptive tools. Sometimes, like if I did really want to go out on the ice, I would have a brace on my knees. Sometimes we need supportive shoes or we need cushioned mats. Anything that will make it possible for us to move safely and reduce any discomfort. Sometimes working alongside our healthcare professionals. Maybe you're working with a physical therapist or a trainer that can help provide reassurance and customized guidance for you. Unfortunately, sometimes the medications that we are on could cause side effects that affect our ability to be physically active. Think of things like fatigue or dizziness or other side effects. And so it's really important to talk with your doctor so that they can help adjust medication, maybe the timing of the medication, maybe the dosage, and the different types of activity so that you can do movement that's safe and manageable. Also, another thing that comes into play is menopause. So those shifting hormones, they can slow our metabolism. They can increase fat storage and affect our energy level. These changes can make weight management and exercise feel really, really challenging. So you need to get some support from people like a dietitian or a trainer or a health coach that can really help to tailor a plan that includes strength training, nutrition, managing stress, all of which play an important role in our long-term health. And just keep in mind that aging doesn't mean we have to give up on activity. It just means finding something new, sustainable ways that we can move that honor our body's needs. With the right adjustments and support, it is possible to stay strong, independent, and energized well into our later life. A little talk here about safety. Safety, of course, is really important whenever we're doing physical activity. To avoid those musculoskeletal injuries, you want to gradually increase physical activity and choose appropriate low impact exercises. Again, walking, gardening, swimming, cycling, dancing, golf, any activities that have low injury rates. Now, people with past injuries should really set realistic goals and vary activities so that you prevent re-injuring yourself or overuse. A lot of times, our older folks need more time, possibly 2 to 4 weeks, to really adapt to new activity levels, and they need more time versus younger adults, younger people. Safety also involves the proper gear and choosing safe environments and following guidelines. Also, be mindful of where you are exercising, avoiding heavy traffic, poor lighting, or uneven surfaces. Also, noting high pollution times, or maybe when the air is unsafe, like due to fires or other environmental concerns, especially if you've got some lung or breathing issues, maybe asthma or COPD. Just be careful as to, when you are exercising, if you're choosing to exercise outside. So now that we've covered the importance of staying active, I'm going to turn that knowledge into action. So in this section, we're going to talk about some practical steps to help you start, maintain, or enjoy a more active lifestyle at any age. This is going to empower you to move more, feel better, and live healthier. So what can we do? Incorporating exercise in your life doesn't have to feel overwhelming. We start with simple, sustainable strategies. The first one is, well, why are you exercising? You need to find a meaningful reason to stay active, and that helps with motivation. Maybe it's because you want to walk up a flight of stairs without getting out of breath, or you want to be able to play with the grandkids or try pickleball. You need to start with manageable activities and gradually increase. You got to put it into your routine. You got to schedule it. That helps with consistency. Exercise is boring. No, not if you vary it with aerobic, strength, flexibility, and balance exercises. Try adding activity just throughout your everyday actions. This is not something else you need to add. Add it to what you are already doing, like taking the stairs or stretching. Sometimes we need an accountability partner. So a social group helps you stick with it. Same with me with tap. Sometimes I don't feel like going to tap dancing on a Monday night, but my friends are there. They always look forward to seeing me. So that kind of acts as my accountability partner. Tracking your progress, even just using a journal or an app. That way you can see where you are, how far you've come, and you can celebrate your achievements. And we just need to make this is a lifelong habit. So it needs to be sustainable for the lasting health benefits. Here's some resources. Now, this is for middle-aged adults. This is just a sample, you guys, of what is out there. There are so many options for you. And of course, Health Not does not endorse any of these resources. I remember getting my AARP card when I turned 50. I was so insulted. But then I actually started looking into some of the resources. They have really great, online workouts, on demand programming. Okay, there's a lot of different apps out there, of course. There's My Fitness Pal, that's going to track fitness and nutrition. If you happen to have a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, those kinds of things are going to track your activity, your sleep, could even track your heart rate. The Nike Training Club that offers free home workouts, and Daily Burn. This is another one. Different types of variety of workout videos, including some low impact options. If you end up on YouTube, they got Fitness Blender. Now, that is workouts at all different kinds of levels, durations, and different body parts. There's Yoga with Adriene, that's gentle, accessible yoga. I happen to like Get Fit with Rick and also Leslie Sansom because I can work out in my home. They've got low impact, joint friendly walking workouts. And then on the websites and different platforms, if you have not heard of Silver Sneakers, that has fitness classes for older adults. So does the American Council on Exercise and bodybuilding.com. I know what you're thinking, bodybuilding, Laura, I could not do that. No, no, no. They have a wide range of videos for all fitness levels. And then just in your local neighborhood, your parks and rec, maybe they've got water aerobics or group classes like Pilates or Zumba, or they even offer strength training for older adults. You could go with a personal trainer. That can be costly. But if you're headed to the gym and you would like a tailored, program specifically to your needs, might be an option for you. Also, look because sometimes the gyms will offer a free orientation to the equipment and the machines. It can be overwhelming if you've never gone there. And then don't forget about virtual classes and communities like Peloton. It's bike, but it's strength. It's also yoga at home, Fitbit, things like Strava, which is more of a running and cycling online communities. Sometimes, we need communities for our just accountability and to see what other people are doing and just join those communities as a social. So these are just a range of options. And so these are to help you keep you active, build strength, and overall health guidance tailored to your needs and your preferences. Now, throughout this presentation today, I've talked about, how the importance of exercise, how to manage any challenges that arise, and some practical ways to overcome them. And so, just, regular exercise movement can improve your health and boost your mood. But remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. So, whether you're starting small or you're building on your already existing routine, every step you take towards staying active is a step toward a healthier, more fulfilling life. And really, the key takeaway today is that being active is a lifelong journey. No matter where you are in your life, it's never too late to start and to make improvements. You stay focused on your why and you set realistic goals, making small, sustainable changes that can make physical activity a lasting and enjoyable part of your life. That is it for the content today. My last slides here are on our wellness programs that are available to our HealthNet members. So we've got all kinds of health and information on our wellness portal. All you need to do, HealthNet members, is just log into your account to access those. And if you're interested in the health risk assessment, that's really designed to give you a snapshot of your health in key areas such as nutrition and exercise, emotional well-being, even financial well-being. Our test is called the Real Age Test, and check with your health plan for similar offerings. And like I said, sometimes we need some help and accountability along the way. So changing your habits, increasing your exercise, sometimes working with a health coach is a great, great way to get support. You don't have to do it alone. Craving to Quit. This is our tobacco cessation program, and it's really designed for users who are ready to quit, to permanently break their addiction to tobacco. Eat Right Now. If you're looking to make some improvements or maintain your eating habits, this is a great one. Eat Right Now. This is a mindful eating program that's really focused in on healthy eating, not dieting. And we know that life is full of stress. So Unwinding by ShareCare has tools, videos, modules to help you build resilience and decrease the chronic stress. And please take a quick note that this program is actually open to everyone. And of course, we offer discounts for our members. So if you're interested in Weight Watchers or some acupuncture or chiropractic visits, we also have a discount to the hearing aids and also the screening and the Active and Fit. This is our gym discount program. So we just talked about activity today. So HealthNet members, for $28 a month, there is no contract. You can have access to both 14,000 gyms in the network as well as on-demand programming. And we also have online health challenges, again, open to everybody, mostly on stress, steps, sleep. We also have some on nutrition. And then we have one specifically in October for HealthNet members. It's a gratitude challenge. And then join us next month. I know what you're thinking, Laura, what? The holidays are coming? Yes, they will be here before you know it, but do not worry. We're going to get you prepared. So next month, we're going to be talking about managing holiday stress, setting boundaries. We'll be talking about healthy habits, managing expectations, and how to build that support system so that you can have a joyful and fulfilling holiday experience. We hope you join us next month for that. Thank you again so much for your time today. As a reminder, everyone who registered for this webinar will receive a link to the recording in just a few days. Thank you so much for your time. You may now exit the webinar.